I think what we are seeing currently is already a backlash against targets, against administrative approaches. And part of the problem, in my view, are also these guesstimates of how much it will cost and how do we find the money. There is no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow which we could grab and pour into this to make the transition work. There's only a need to think about sensible mechanisms in order to eventually make the industry, and that means the consumer, who pays their product, to pay for the costs of transition. That is the only way, and having missed out on that one in favor of government regulation and targets and wild guesses is ultimately just doing harm to the industry and getting this job done. My view is that we need to employ much more the price mechanism. We need markets, we need carbon markets, obviously. We need to develop very urgently something where the aviation industry was actually first, which is the market for offsets, which is CORSIA. To do that further, that is a true piece where the aviation industry took the first step before other industries. And we need to favor that, and we need to get back off a little bit from this idea of having targets in government regulations to fulfill it, or from some pot of finance being available somewhere by way of subsidies or other mechanism. As you see, the bigger picture when the energy industry, as the energy transition moves from a narrative of substitution, you can just replace fossil with others, into a recognition that it really has to rely on complementarities, that you have to use all the fuels, including fossil fuels. Do you do that by a price mechanism, or do you do that by government mandates, which then inevitably are fragmented across the globe, across countries and all of that, and which are very difficult to implement? It's much nicer to get government subsidies than to pay a buck more, but at the end of the day, somebody has to pay that buck more. It's a hell of a problem we have, if we really have it. I am not arguing against the energy transition. I think that for all we know, we should take the risk of climate change caused by us as a serious risk and should work against it. And then we will get there eventually, but we could have avoided a lot of detours by relying less on governments and more on ourselves.